YouTube world, my name is Nicholas Montez, and you're watching my YouTube channel, The Teenage Movie Critic. Welcome back to another YouTube channel, everybody. I'm so excited to have you all back here together again. And in today's video, we are reviewing the sixth and final episode of Loki Season 2, Glorious Purpose. Can't believe that this show has finally come to an end. I can't believe it. Like, I remember this show came out in 2021, and I was like, what is this show? And then I was just kind of disappointed, and then I come back in 2023, and I'm actually liking this show. So I'm like, I was hoping this season ends off strong. So let's go ahead and get started talking about this episode. But before we do, let's kind of retract as to what were my thoughts going into this show before this finale. So my thoughts going before into this show was, why are we doing a show about Loki when he basically already died? It doesn't make sense. And then we've gotten all this stuff about like TVA and time travel and all these different characters and Owen Wilson, and I'm like, that sounds kind of interesting. But Loki's a Norse god. He's not all about time. What? And then as we're watching the series, it kind of got interesting, and then once we found out that season 2 is happening, you're like, oh, that sounds quite cool. And the trailers kind of worked for me, and this past season has actually really worked for me, even if there's been some confusing things. But overall, I've been liking it thus far. So now, let's review episode 6. And once again, it's just another great episode, but a great finale to this second season of Loki. What I really loved about it is that it just starts as you have the Marvel logo, and it goes backward from where you get the opening comic book title, and then goes to when Loki is trying to put Victor Timely in the suit so he can go out to fix the temporal loom. And Loki, because of his time slipping, he keeps going back in time and trying to do it over and over again, see what we can do differently. So he keeps trying different things, maybe go faster, faster, faster. And so then he goes before Ravonna and Miss Minutes were ever there. And you have this moment where they finally do it. He gets in the suit and he's going, and he pushes the button. And you feel this moment of satisfaction where you're like, we finally did it. We've been waiting for this since episode 4, when Victor Timely actually died. And now, the temporal loom is safe. Everybody's cheerful. Victor Timely is good about it. He's like, pumpkins. And you're like, this is just a great moment of satisfaction. And you're like wondering, what are we gonna do? Well, what's gonna happen now? We have like 40 minutes left. What now? And unfortunately, what Victor Timely what he did is not enough. That no matter what you do, it's going to keep being more. And it's kind of like with Vic, and so. So how do we find another way to fix the loom? We gotta go back to when Sylvie killed He Who Remains, because that's the whole reason why this thing is happening. And so, Loki's trying to have a fight with past Sylvie, and you have this talk with He Who Remains. Jonathan Majors comes back as He Who Remains, and he knows about everything. He knows about Loki's time slipping. He knows about Victor Timely. He knows about the problems with the temporal loom. He knows about everything. And it's like, when He Who Remains was alive, everything in the way the timeline played out, he paved the way. But even when he's dead, the destruction and the destruction of that, he'll pave the way for that. And I think that's kind of an interesting story for that character. And so then he decides to go back, and then Loki decides to go back to when he first met Mobius, and trying to find how do you choose who lives and who dies, and we gotta find out, like, just choose your burden. Like, there's no peace, there's no comfort at the TVA. And then Loki thinks the best way to do this is to kill Sylvie, but then at this moment he starts to realize, there's no other way to fix the loom. I can't stop Sylvie from killing He Who Remains. I can't kill Sylvie, so I think the best thing I'm gonna do, and you get this moment when he's looking at his friends, knowing I'm not gonna see them anymore, but it's gonna be for the better. And so instead of choosing Victor Timely, he decides to go out, and you're like, wait, is he gonna kill himself? Because I'm like, doesn't everybody that goes through this, like, don't they die afterwards? And so he goes through the thing, and fortunately he doesn't disintegrate. He stays in there a good while, and his clothes start fading off, but then comes in a brand new costume. And at first I was like, wait, is he like getting younger because it's like time? And you start to realize he's getting a new cape. He's growing horns. I'm like, oh my god, this looks so cool. And then he's doing this with his powers. And then he breaks the temporal loom. He destroys it. And you're like, oh shit. What's going on now? What are we doing? So basically, he like grabs the timelines, and technically branches of the sacred timeline, they're actually branches. So he's able to grab them, and they're able to sound like branches holding them. And so he grabs all of them, all the dying branches, and basically goes into the middle of time and somewhat creates his own throne, sits on it, and creates Yggdrasil, the world tree. And basically, Loki is not the god of mischief, not the god of stories, but the god of time. He's the new He Who Remains, and he is protecting the timelines for all eternity. And to me, I would say that this is a great arc for the character, because at first I was like, how do you complete this character's arc? It's pretty simple. He's an anti-hero, so just make him do something good. Make him save the TVA, that's it. But what other way could you have him do it? To make him still have what he really wants? You can give him the throne, but he wanted the throne for the wrong reasons. Now, he can get the throne and do it for the right reasons. And he deserves it. I think that's what made the character great. And then we get the scene after, where basically the TVA is kind of fixed. Miss Minutes is back. Ravonna is still in at the end of time. Casey and 100B15 are now big members of the TVA now. And also, the TVA is also kind of like this He Who Remains variant place. They're trying to hunt down the variants of them. They're not hunting down variants of people that are on the sacred timeline. They're now hunting He Who Remain variants to stop them. And so we also heard theories that they're going to be they're going to be assembling armies of heroes from dying worlds. That's going to be sounding interesting. They mentioned Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. That's fun. And then we also get the moment that Mobius wants to go back to the sacred timeline and live and see what we was trying to protect. And basically he just wants to stand there and let time pass. And then we get the iconic shot of Loki looking at his friends, all happy. And it's a nice conclusion to his story. It's a nice conclusion to everything. And so yeah, that's pretty much the good on this one. Now let's move on to the bad. Okay, so I don't really have many issues with this episode. My only big concerns is how is Loki gonna come back in other projects if he's trapped in this throne and he's holding all the branches together? How's he gonna do this? Now I get it that the TVA is gonna come back in Deadpool 3, and I also heard they're gonna have like a different look in it, which I'm very excited to see. But it doesn't really make sense how Loki's gonna come back, and he's also set to have a reunion with Thor. So how is that gonna happen? Makes me questionable, if I'm being honest. But overall, that's really my only issue with the episode, with the show. I mean, with this episode. Overall, I really liked it. It was a great episode, a great conclusion to this series, and that's my thoughts on episode 6. Before I get my final score, be sure down below. What were your thoughts on episode 6 of Loki season 2, episode 6? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? What are you tuning? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. With that said, let's get all my scores. Alright, so that's it for my scores, but we're not done here yet. We want a couple more things to talk about, so let's go ahead and get into them. So this is kind of including final thoughts of the show as well as theories. So for theories on this one, I think Loki will come back and reunite with Thor in the Avengers movies, because I'm pretty sure that's the next time we're going to see him. And the TVA, I'm excited for the TVA, and I'm hoping that the TVA doesn't become this like they can still have all these court cases and everything, but I want them to become a little more superficial, to where they become a little more battle people, and they don't just have these zapping thing like the technology. Like maybe that because this is Loki, and it's probably like the first stages of the TVA. Maybe the reason why it doesn't look like it's in the comics is because it's the first stage. So they wanted to have a different look to it, and now we're gonna get the updated version of it, what it truly supposed to look like. So maybe we'll get that, but that's really all my theories. And for final thoughts on this series, you know, I was confused with this first season because it was just so different. You know, I'm like, okay, a Loki show, okay. I don't know about a time travel show with Loki. And then like exploring who are the timekeepers, who's this, who's that, and it's like it was kind of confusing. But then Loki season 2 came in, and it kind of made me like this. It kind of made me like this show a little bit more with the characters. But really, more importantly, I love the way that they did the character of Loki and his character arc. So overall, I would say that this season was great, and it's definitely one of the best things. This was definitely holding Marvel as well as Guardians 3 this past year. So my thoughts on Phase 5, for me, there's at least a couple projects I do like. I love Guardians 3, I love Secret Invasion, Loki Season 2, and I Am Groot Season 2. I watched Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, did not really like it as much. I watched The Marvels, and it wasn't that great. But overall, that's really the best I can say with this movie, with this show. Overall, Phase 5 is okay, but hopefully next year with the projects we're getting with Echo, Deadpool 3, X-Men 97, and I believe I forgot what else is coming out next year. But with other projects, yeah, I hope they're good next year too. Alright, so for the next Disney Plus shows next year, we have, well, technically in December, I think, this year, we're getting What If Season 2 on Christmas Day. It's not, I don't know if it's confirmed yet if that's happening, but yeah. Of course, I really enjoyed the first season of What If, so I'm excited to watch this. And a lot of the episodes sound interesting to me, but also, Echo is a show that I've always been excited for, which, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really understand the hate that this show got when they first announced it. Like, I get it, like, if you weren't injured, like, I don't know. I loved Hawkeye, and I liked the Maya character, but like, I was more interested in the idea of a deaf superhero show, rather than the actual exploring the character, and what would that be like. I wasn't looking at who that character was and, oh, I want to spend time with her. No, I was looking at it in the aspect of a deaf superhero, but a character we just met. But the trailer that we got for this show looks incredible. The action looks insane. And I like the usage of the way they're going to use Kingpin in this show. In that he's basically like the sound of it. That she's ruthless like Kingpin. And I'm like, that is great. It's crazy. It's bloody. It's ruthless. And it's TVMA. Plus, it's coming out in January, so it's an early birthday present for me, and it's coming, and it's releasing all the episodes in one day, so I'm excited for that. And that's pretty much the video for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All those social media stuff in the about section over there, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.